All right. So today we're going to heal this empathy without boundaries thing that you've been suffering from. Empathy without boundaries is self-abandonment. It's self-hatred. It's reckless abandon. It's self-destruction. So you're complicit in your own self-abuse when you self-abandon or when you have empathy without boundaries. So it might seem like you're being a hero or you're a good person to feel empathy, to show empathy, and you are, but if you don't know how to handle being an empath correctly, then you'll be a toxic empath, which is someone who is not balanced, not healed, and as a result, absorbing too much toxicity so that they themselves are becoming saturated with the toxicity and they themselves become toxic. They can become a source of toxicity or mistreatment, abandonment, neglect, abuse to other people. And of course, that's the opposite of what you want to be as an empath. So we have to get to the bottom of what's creating or causing you to be toxic as an empath. And so if you identify yourself as maybe being a toxic or an unhealed empath right now, and you would like to stop abandoning yourself, you would like to stop people pleasing, this is the video for you. We're going to heal that today so that we're no longer having empathy without boundaries. In order to do this, I'm going to help you to integrate your love for others. So we're going to be talking about how you would care for a child into your love for yourself, which is non-existent right now or very weak. And we're going to help you to integrate these two parts so that you have a love for yourself to the same level as you have love for others. And in that way, you will be healed. And so for any clinicians watching, that's our objective with the client, is to help them to relate the way that they love others. So hypothetically, this child that we're going to use in an illustration, so they learn to love themselves the same way, and they see that as synonymous because the way that they need to love in a balanced way is equal to the way they love themselves. They have to love others the way they love themselves and themselves the way they love others. So we start with the illustration that I made in previous video about taking a child to a dangerous area, dropping them off, and then saying, hey, just do whatever anyone else tells you to do, and see ya, and you peel off. Now, that's something you would never do. But why? Well, because it's just reckless abandonment of the child. That is the same thing as empathy without boundaries, where you're just doing whatever anyone else tells you to do, especially when you're feeling unsafe, when you're feeling that the situation is dangerous or people are dangerous. You're people pleasing. So is it wrong to have empathy? Is it wrong to please others? No, but the way you're doing it has been detrimental. If you're doing it to the detriment of yourself, then it's wrong. It's, in other words, bad for you. It's unhealthy. It's maladaptive. To understand empathy, empathy is a projection of how we think another person feels. Empathy is a projection for how we think another person feels. It's the reason it's a projection is because we don't know how another person feels. So we're looking at them. We may see the situation and have empathy. We may see their actual facial expression and have empathy. But whatever is moving us to empathy, our understanding of what they feel is limited. It's just based on what you know. It's the emotions you know, usually your own emotions. So you're actually projecting how you would feel onto them. Oh, I would feel so hurt if my mother left me. I would feel this. And so whatever they're telling you, you're projecting how you would feel onto them. And that is the feelings you're experiencing is empathy. So when people say, oh, I feel other people's feelings, what they're saying is scientifically incorrect. The feelings of a human are inside of a human. They're not outside floating around shooting from person to person. So this feeling that you have that you can feel the feelings of another person isn't actually correct. What you're feeling is how you would feel if you were in their situation. You're feeling your feelings because your feelings come from the chemical and electrical impulses inside your body. And they're all based on your perceptions as to how what you see in the environment is lining up. It's your perception of how you see things in your environment lining up with your values, to be specific. So when you decide that you're feeling empathy or you're feeling other people's pain and emotions, it's because you think that another person is feeling those emotions. That's all. It's your perception. It doesn't mean it's wrong. Sometimes it's right. In fact, probably a lot of times our empathy is correct, but not always. It's not 100% foolproof, so we don't always know. So this empathy without boundaries thing is prioritizing another person's feelings, another person's comfort, another person's well-being over yourself to a way that actually becomes to the detriment of the self. That is unhealthy. Again, prioritizing another person's feelings, another person's comfort, another person's well-being over yourself to the point where it's actually a detriment to yourself is actually unhealthy. So what are boundaries? Because this is what we're going to need in order to make it so that it is healthy. We want to have a balance of caring for others and caring about their feelings and caring about their well-being, but not prioritizing them so much that it's to the detriment of yourself, but prioritizing yourself equal to how you prioritize the feelings of everyone else. So you're really important, I am too. You want things, I do too. You feel things, I do too. So you're equally paying attention to, okay, maybe you feel that way, that's my projection, my empathy, and here's how I feel, which may be different than how you feel. And it's the balance of that that puts you into homeostasis, which is balance or health, right? And we want you to be healed. So we want you there where you're able to see yourself. In order to do this, picture having a child, and you tell your child things like share and cooperate with others and play nice, right? But you don't mean for the child to go so far with the sharing and the playing nice that they do it to the detriment of themselves. You're sitting there, hey, where's your toys? Oh, I gave them all away. Where's your shirt? Oh, I gave it away, right? Where's your food? Oh, I gave it all away. That's not what you meant by share and play nice, right? So what you're really trying to tell the child is engage in a level of cooperation that's good for you and the other people. So take that child, bring it into yourself. That is your inner child. And that's where you want to hit the balance. You want to engage in a level of cooperation that's good for you. That was the whole point of cooperating, is for your own good, and it's good for other people equally. Does that make sense? So we're engaging in a level, so everyone's winning. It's not just I lose so that they can win and now I can stay safe. That's people pleasing. That's trauma response. Boundaries are the rules and the limitations that you create. So it's basically saying no and deciding when you're going to say no. You decide upon your boundaries based on your feelings. So when you feel uncomfortable, then it's time to state a boundary. When you feel uncomfortable, then it's time to create a boundary. Okay? So if I'm listening to my feelings, another person may say, hey, I want you to help me. And then I listen to my feelings. I see their feelings. My empathy tells me they're in need of help, and I know how that feels. But my ego, sense of self, tells me that I feel tired today. So now I'm going to have a combination of caring for them and myself, and ultimately I may decide, I have to make sure that I'm okay ultimately, so it's time to set a boundary. And then I'm going to create a rule or limitation. In this case, I would say something like, hey, you know what? Limitation. I feel a little bit too tired to be able to help you. Consideration for my feelings. Now I've set a boundary. Then they say, okay, fine. That is empathy with boundaries. That's what you want to aspire to. Does that make sense? A person calls you up and says, hey, can you babysit Friday night? And you go, oh, my empathy tells me they need me. They need help. They need someone. I can be the hero. But then you bring in the feelings indicating, but Friday night is my time. And then you state a boundary limitation. Hey, you know what? I could babysit for you, but not Friday night. That's empathy with boundaries. That's healthy. So listen to your feelings so that you know when you need to step up and speak up for yourself, the same way you would step up and speak up for a poor, defenseless child that needs you to advocate for it. That's self-love. Speaking up for yourself. That's it. Treating yourself the way you would treat a child that you love. That's the secret to self-love. Hope this helps.